Alright, welcome back to Monster Hunter World. This one's gonna be a bit more of a rant style because I had a I'll be honest with you guys, I hate Lunastra. I think most people hate Lunastra, but I really hate Lunastra. She's not fun. In fact, she's very annoying. So I'm not sure really how to start this off. Alright, I mean, I guess here we are, so it spawned me a million miles away for this one, which is real nice as always, but so I'm currently wearing the Kushala Daora set because it gives me wind resist, which I desperately need, mainly for that Supernova, which we'll get to her Supernova. Trust me, I have some choice words about that. Oh boy. So here we scoot, you know, just so you'll notice I have some cool drinks pulled up. That's intentional. Even though we're not in the wilds in the Elder's Recess, these are actually pretty useful for just, you know, reducing some of the effects of her heat armor, or whatever you want to call it. Heat aura, I guess. It just reduces some of the fire damage, which is always nice. And I'm not using the Vitality Mantle for once. I'm actually using the Flameproof Mantle, or Fireproof Mantle, one of the two. And even still, it's... Oh, excuse me? Yeah. This was not fun. So what you're seeing now is like my 7th or 8th attempt at getting a good run through with her. I suspect that I will never fight her again without doing it with other people, because I actually did temper Lunastra with 4 other people, like, before this, and, like, it's fine. Like, I didn't hate it. It was pretty alright. So why I came into this thinking, oh, this is gonna be just fine. Turns out the answer to that question is no, it's not fine. It's actually very not fine, so for right now we're just targeting her wings because, you know, I need to break, they break independently. There's the first two breakable parts that you need to get. Big, massive, and they're right there. And she can't really hit me while I'm up there. With the exception of her very annoying tail swipe, which also spreads hellfire all over the place because, you know, they already had a ridiculous hitbox, so why not add that on top of it? Well, here's pretty interesting. I actually ends with like virtually no stamina left, but just enough to make it out. So whenever she goes down, we usually just end up focusing her tail. So I suppose to get that off. And we're gonna grab ourselves some stone. Mostly just mainly for knocking her into walls because her head's actually very difficult to break. And that's her 3 main breakable. That's her all her breakable parts: wings, head, tail. And that's it. Not too many, so pretty easy. So very annoying. I don't have much to say about her until she starts going out her heat wave. So for master rank, they gave her a new sort of mini supernova, or a effect where she'll like blow a bunch of like blow like a heat wave and hellfire towards one specific area with her wings. Unfortunately, the setup for it looks almost identical to her supernova, so it's very difficult to tell when it's going to go off, which is my first complaint about her Supernova. It is horribly telegraphed. It is quite difficult to tell if you're not, like, if you don't get, like, if you're not pretty close to onto her. It's very difficult to tell whether she's going for her Supernova or she's doing that, because they have, like, almost exactly the same startup animation. It's like, great. One of those I don't really care about. One of those is a huge problem, and it's very hard to tell until, like, the last second which one it's gonna be, which is a massive problem. I would have honestly given her a different new attack for Master Rank, because it's just so difficult to figure out what she's trying to do. And then her enrage sort of roar right there, that's also looks very similar to Supernova. So it's like, okay, now I've got a third thing to worry about. So that's cool. Thank you, whoever designed that. I really, well, when Supernova goes off, I'll show you. As things progress, I'll show you more and more about why I really think her Supernova should absolutely be nerfed. If you've noticed something already, it's something that I'm going to burn through a lot of healing items, just forewarning. Her damage is overtuned. I'm just going to come out and say it. It's very overtuned. I don't know if it's just because Shell do Armorizing doesn't do, like, amazing against fire, and I should have, you know, just gotten windproof on my Safi Jiva glaive, and then just, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Run with, like, my gold Rathian gear. But, you know, whatever. Too late now. I'm probably not gonna farm her for armor. I don't really care that much. So, whatever. Suppose I can talk about other things I've been doing. Well, I had to farm for the Nargacuga mantle because, as it turns out, it takes forever to do. I think I killed, like, I did 1,000,000 Nargacuga quests, so you saw a guy named Foxer running around looking for, you know, guys are doing Nargacuga quests. You know, that's why. It's me. And you can see how much damage that heat wave takes. I think it's pure fire damage. So I think it actually I think it might negate armor, or just pure defense. Or if it doesn't, that's kind of broken. Or if it does, or if it isn't negating armor, then the amount of damage it does is kind of ridiculous. It's even more ridiculous than I thought, at least. Other things I've been doing, get back to that. Well, Arch-Tempered Namiel came up, so I ran him more than a few times. I would much rather do him again. He's much more fair. That's Supernova activating. You can see I have to burn two entire Great Sushi Fish Scales just to stay alive. That is insane. That's like about 4/3 of my health. So if I did not burn those, I would not have lived at all. That is way overtuned. Like, holy crap. I have no words. None. Why? Anything else? No, just Arch-Tempered Namiel, who is very cool, I must say. I do really like his armor set's really nice, and I definitely enjoy his fight. His damage is pretty ridiculous, but again, it's kind of supposed to be. I'm a little more forgiving of that than Lunastra over here. She can die anytime she wants. I'm kind of hoping if there's a Monster Hunter World 2 that Lunastra gets left out of it. I would be down with that. Like, if there's any monsters that World can just leave behind, please leave behind Lunastra. I am totally cool with that. Like, very cool with that. Like, please do it. Please, please do it. I do not want to have to deal with her ever again. Okay, so one of the things that, you know, at least I've noticed about her is that when she's enraged and charge it up enough, you can trigger her Supernova with a flash. And you'll see me do it here. Just triggering her Supernova forces her to burn all of her heat armor, or heat aura off, whatever you want to call it. So that's why it's very useful for just getting rid of that. So that's what I'm doing, in case you're wondering. I'll end up doing it a couple times. I did actually finally learn how to turn monsters with the Clutch Claw. It'll take me an embarrassing amount of time to figure it out, but hey, better late than never. I suppose. What else are we dealing with here? I mean, I guess there's not much else to say other than that she's very annoying. Although, I suppose, there's a couple more things, but I'll have to show them when time comes. Another big problem is, it mainly more has to do with the area we're currently fighting in, because Wildfire Waste is not very good for her. She was clearly intended to be mostly fought in the Elder's Recess. This Elder's Recess is a lot of very nice, wide open areas that you can use to just duke it out in. We're running away from Supernova is definitely a lot. Running away from Supernova is a lot easier in the Waste. Sorry, in the Elder's Recess. Confusing the two now. Wildspire Waste just doesn't have that. There's a lot of small, awkward areas that are just not very fun to fight in. That one down there, the cave area back there, as one of them, I do not like fighting there. Some monsters are alright there. Lunastra is not one of those monsters. I have been caught there when Supernova went off, and I was just... If Supernova goes off in there, you're basically dealing with a Russian roulette of, if you're not in the right area, like, you die. You just die. It's like, that's it. If you're not near an exit, or if she throws down, there's like... So, the Supernova has several sort of lines where, like, heat damage will pulse out from. If she lays down one of those lines in front of one of the exits to that room, you are screwed. That's basically it. You can't heal, because those lines pulse out knockdown, so it'll basically just constantly knock you down, continually deal damage, and you just end up dying with no chance to heal. Which is real fun, let me tell you. Which is one of the things I really hate about her Supernova. It's very little counterplay. Because it's basically like 3 different dots. There's like the Hellfire on the ground, there's the Heat Wave, there's all the knockdown. It's like 3 different things. There's also the wind pressure as well, so like... It's like 3 different things all going on at once to combine into one awful experience, and it's just abysmal. It's like, why? Why is this a thing? Why is this a thing? It's like... I do not understand whose idea this was. Because I don't remember it being this bad in high rank. Like, Teostra's Supernova was just fine. Like, his Supernova was totally alright. It was totally manageable. So why is hers just this awful? I do not understand. Why? Why? Alright, like I said, this is going to be a bit of a rant because she's just awful to fight. So, sorry I don't have much interesting to say other than I hate Lunastra and she sucks and she's broken. But that's really all I have. And this fight just goes on forever because I have to constantly be scared of Supernova. Because if Supernova goes off and I'm not ready, then I die. And that's not very fun. I do not like having to play scared of one ability the entire time. It's like, not even Arch-Tempered Namiel could one-shot you with his Supernova. Well, he has his own little Supernova thing. But it's pretty uncommon for him to do it if you're ready. Or if you just know what you're doing. Just gotta stay out of the puddles and you'll be fine. And forensically, if you just get in the air, you're usually fine as well. Keep your health up, stay out of the puddles, stay in the air. Easy, right? But with Lunastra, it's like, if I happen to be a little too close to her when it goes off, I'm completely screwed. There's no way I will be able to get far enough away to get out of Supernova in time. In order so that I won't just die from it. So like... Whoever thought Lunastra's Supernova was a good idea has never had a good idea in their entire life. Let me just say that much. It is objectively poorly designed. There's just too many things going on with it. Like, knockdown plus air pressure plus hellfire plus heat wave. Who thought that was a good idea? You can prepare for like 2 of those things, maybe 3 if you're really lucky. Not all of them. Certainly not all of them. If there was just... If they remove the knockdown, I'd be fine. If they nerf something, if they toned down the heat damage, I would be fine. I think if I was gonna rework her and I had to keep all of her stuff, I would remove the knockdown and lower the heat damage a bit. That's probably what I would end up doing. Because with those 2 things, she's just ridiculous. Without them, she's still hard, but she's not insane. I end up whiffing a lot of slinger shots here. Figured this out. Also, just a pro heads up, like her head is insanely difficult to break. Like it's not gonna. Just, spoiler alert: it's not gonna break until literally the end of the quest. That's how it be. My other problem with her Supernova is how it has a very quick cast time for the insane range it has. And with Teostra, you know, like, once he has to go up in the sky to do it, Lunastra can start it from the ground and will very rapidly complete the animation. The animation, like, finishes insanely quickly. Like, Namiel's is pretty well telegraphed. Again, this comes back to the telegraph problems. Namiel's Supernova is pretty well telegraphed. Like, he starts breathing water down, He goes up and then he goes up into the air and then he comes back down. With Lunastra, there's like 2 other moves it could be, and you don't know which one it is because it's horribly telegraphed. Like, see, that could have been it. I don't know. It wasn't, but it sure could have been the start of it. And Betelgeuse has like a pretty similar move, like where he slams. What Betelgeuse does is he does this sort of spin thing where he drops a bunch of his purple scales around in a circle, and then he'll come crashing down, and like it detonates all his scales at once and makes a massive explosion. 1, the damage on that's not ridiculous, and 2, it's very well telegraphed as to what he's gonna do. And so we're out of one of her stupid kill lanes, so we get to walk that one off pretty unscathed. But again, where the kill lanes are is kind of random, so you basically have no control over whether or not they end up hitting you. Maybe I just had a really bad experience with her. I don't know, but again, I would rather not ever have to fight her a second time. Let's see. In fact, I plan on just doing her. She has a quest in the Elder's Recess, which I'm hoping will be a bit easier. Other thing, I also managed to do the We Run This Town quest, which is, you know, it's the final, sort of the last sort of quest you get after doing all the other Master Rank quests besides all the really hard 6-star ones. So, you know, that's pretty cool. I ended up completing it with like 40 seconds left on the clock, which is... oh no, this is what amuses me. So, I have fun doing that. Unfortunately, the hardest part after that is talking to like the 1,000,000 people after you finish the quest. It's like, I swear literally every single NPC wants to talk to you after you finish that quest. Kind of hilarious. I'm going back to Lunastra. I suppose the next monster after this, I would like to do Frostbane Varioth, but I still have no idea how you're supposed to unlock his quest. I will have to I'll have to look into that, let's just say. I'll have to look into figuring out how to do his quest at some point. However, assuming I can't find out, Raging Brachy is likely going to be my next target. I'm not doing Furious Giant before I do him. I can tell you that much. I don't feel like he's going to be too terribly difficult. I do expect him to be hard, obviously, but I don't expect him to be nearly as infuriating as, say, Lunastra. That one was like an instance where I was sort of just saved by the terrain, and you saw how much the knockdown and how much damage that did in just one hit. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, I think the main problem with her is that her damage is just insane, and like they really need to tune it down. She is very overtuned at the moment. I would like her to not be that, because that would be cool. Better than what we have currently. But... well... hopefully Raging Brachy won't be nearly as awful as Lunastra. Hopefully. I did fight Brachy during the We Were on This Town quest, and you know... I think I remember him being a lot more worse than he actually was. Maybe just that there was multiple people there, I don't know, but... either way, he wasn't so bad, so... I am cautiously optimistic for Raging Brachy. So especially if I build blast resistance pretty well, then I think he shouldn't be too much of a problem. He said. So, suppose you can look forward to that whenever I do end up getting around to it. Alright, so she's going back to her little nest, which is another place that I really do not want to fight her, because if you know where she's going, which I think most people would, she's going back to her tiny little hidey hole, and in that place, if Supernova goes off, I am basically dead. Like, unless I have to be pretty close to the entrance, and I'm able to get out in time, and she doesn't, like, throw down one of her stupid waves down there, I will be fine. Well, then... basically, if the Supernova goes off in this, and I'm not near the exit, I'm basically screwed. And even if it does, there's a chance I could still end up dying anyway. Because, you know... RNG sure is fun. Alright, so... I end up trying to pull off the old clutch clock counter into bomb sort of thing, but... it doesn't entirely work out, and you'll see. Because she's facing this way, and I can't really slam her into that sand wall, so I'm like, alright. I'll just sort of guess as to which way she's going to end up turning, and I guess incorrectly. Let me just say that much. I end up getting her with the bombs eventually, but, well, you'll see. So we're just gonna... swing. The nice thing about swinging the monster around is that it sort of stuns them for a moment, so they can't try and throw you off for, like... there's a period where they can't really throw you off. And you can use that to your advantage. So, you know, that's real nice. Well, somehow the Hellfire doesn't set off the bombs. I don't know how that works, but you know what? I'm not complaining. I'm sort of trying to get her to turn her head, to get her head pretty close to these bombs. So I'm like, alright, hey, come charge me. Come, like, leaping towards me like you did, like, a million times before. And she decides not to for whatever reason, but we do manage to get her there. I'm not sure how much of that went on her head, but either way, it doesn't really matter. So, mount her up, and then that's when her head breaks. It's great. It's like, get all the part breaks. So, she dies decently soon. Although, I suppose decent is not exactly a great word, because it does take me a little while to slowly get her down. Because this is my safest and best method of, you know, whittling her health down. So I try and force out Supernova here, but she just ends up throwing a bunch of Hellfire down the tunnel. So I'm like, alright, I'm not walking through that, so I'm just gonna mash my Insect Glaive onto her over and over again. It's like, alright, maybe we can drag her out towards the big area where she'll be a little bit easier to fight because we're not packed in like this. Or she just stands there attacking nothing for whatever reason, and then, well, something pretty humorous will happen here. And there. Dead from the aerial. And that's Lunastra. We will not be... If I have my way, she will not be gracing the channel again unless I make like some sort of lore video or whatever, because I feel no desire to fight her ever again. I'm not gonna just go out and say she's the worst monster I've ever fought. Although I'm tempted to. Black Diablos and Savage Devil Joe are both pretty bad. I'm not sure if I want to put Lunastra above them. They're all sort of in that F tier of monster fights for me right now. So I suppose I should apologize for making you listen to me just moan on about how much I hate Lunastra for half an hour, but that's really all I got for you. But hopefully next video I'll be a bit more upbeat. Fight will be a bit better. I suppose I should ask you like, comment, subscribe, or leave whatever things you want to say in the comments down below, and I will see you in the very next video. Thank you, and peace out.